As the reviews for Moon Knight continue to pour in, we are finally getting a look at the Rotten Tomatoes. And depending on when you look at it, when you refresh it, and what's already been filed, there's a possibility of a 5 to 8% differential depending on where you're at and just what happens. But either way, this thing is looking like it might end up somewhere between a 65 and a 75. So as always, we are going to wait for more reviews. Typically, when reviews start hitting, you are getting the most popular outlets out there, and then more continue to pour in. And generally, the product does tend to go downwards. Now, at the time of the recording of this video, I checked Rotten Tomatoes, and as always, I refreshed it a couple times within a minute, and I was able to get 4 different scores: a 68, a 67, a 74, and a 75. So I'm just going to say it was somewhere around the 70 medium if I just start kind of shoving that towards the middle aggregate of those refreshes. So either way, a lot of people are starting to worry as the images are getting passed around because, again, this is rather low. I mean, in comparison to most MCU products, this is definitely on the low end. And this brings up all the reviews, where if you start looking at them, even some of the positive reviews are coming in with like a 7 or a 6, but hey, it's good. So again, you have to kind of take this with a grain of salt. Again, we knew going into this that Marvel Studios was holding the reviews back to literally the day before. Going into this, we were looking at this thing having sent 4 episodes to critics, which usually that doesn't happen. That almost never happens with Marvel Studios. And many people were thinking, well, something's got to be wrong with the first or second episode. But now, knowing that they're basing their reviews on 4 episodes, and it's going like this, honestly, many people are ready for this thing to be disastrous by the time it's over. And again, we're going to have to judge this just as anything else in its entirety when it gets there, but things are definitely looking bad for this thing. And there's already people talking about the fact that this thing, if the reviews continue to come in the same way they're coming in now, you could be looking at something that drops below 60, maybe even into the 50s. And that, I think, truly would be disastrous for Marvel. Again, the last couple years really seem to be pushing Marvel lower and lower when it comes to these types of scores and things like that. And maybe it's just a byproduct of when these products are made, or characters that maybe not everybody's finding interesting, or maybe it's just that they're oversaturating the market. I don't know. Again, we're gonna have to wait and see, but this is definitely not good, especially if you're a big Moon Knight fan. But again, hardcore fans might end up liking this or loving it, and it could be the exact things we want, but it's just not meant for casuals. So I guess we're gonna wait and see. Does this worry any of you guys? Are you worried about this? Does this concern you? Or are you kind of feeling like, man, this thing might end up being a dud?